How to grow together, not apart. Have you ever felt like you're still in the same relationship, but somehow miles apart? You sit next to each other, talk every day, maybe even sleep in the same bed, but the emotional distance keeps growing. It's one of the most heartbreaking experiences. To love someone deeply and still feel like you're slowly losing them. This video isn't about fixing someone else. It's about awakening something powerful within you, something that can change the entire dynamic of your relationship. Because real love isn't just about holding hands when things are easy. It's about growing through the seasons, choosing each other when it's hard, and building a connection so strong it becomes unbreakable. If you've ever wondered how to stop growing apart and start growing together, this is the message you didn't know your heart needed. Stay with me until the end, because what you're about to hear may not just save your relationship, it might transform it forever. One of the quiet killers in relationships isn't a loud argument or a betrayal, it's the slow drifting apart that happens when two people no longer see life the same way. It happens subtly, over months and sometimes years. Two people who once laughed at the same dreams, talked for hours about the future, and shared everything now find themselves walking in different emotional directions. That's not because love disappeared, it's because the vision was never revisited or realigned. A healthy, growing relationship is like a ship. It needs direction. Without a destination, even the strongest ship will drift with the tide, and so do people. When couples fail to talk about where they're going as a unit, they eventually stop rowing in sync. One person wants to build a career in a new city, the other dreams of settling down in their hometown. One wants kids within the next few years, the other isn't sure if they ever do. One is chasing growth, passion, purpose, and the other just wants peace, comfort, and routine. Both are valid, but without a shared vision, those differences don't balance, they divide. Shared vision doesn't mean identical dreams. It means choosing to grow in the same direction even if you have different roles or goals. It means asking, what kind of life are we building together? What does success look like to us, not just to me? It means taking time to understand what matters most to your partner and finding ways to make room for both of you in that bigger picture. It's not about sacrifice. It's about alignment. Many people enter relationships based on chemistry and connection. But when the excitement fades, what's left is the foundation. And that foundation is built on shared values, shared dreams, and shared efforts. A relationship without a shared vision becomes a partnership of convenience instead of a commitment to creation. And eventually, one or both people start to feel alone in the relationship, even if they're still physically together. That's why it's essential to talk, often, honestly, and early. Ask each other, what do you want to feel in 5 years? What would a meaningful life look like to you? What scares you about the future? These questions aren't just deep, they're directional. They remind you that your relationship isn't just about surviving the present. It's about building something together, something worth protecting and pouring into. Shared vision also helps you weather storms. When life throws its inevitable challenges, stress, financial tension, family issues, unexpected loss, it's the shared vision that keeps you from turning on each other. Instead of asking, why are you doing this to me? You begin to say, how can we stay aligned through this? You stop seeing each other as the problem and start fighting with each other, not against each other. A shared vision gives your relationship purpose, and purpose gives love strength. When you both know what you're working toward, you're more likely to stay present, show up, and grow with intention. You begin to make choices not just based on today's emotions, but on tomorrow's direction. You stop reacting and you start leading together. When two people are connected by a powerful, purposeful vision, the relationship becomes more than a bond. It becomes a mission. And when your love has a mission, it doesn't just survive the years, it thrives through them. Real connection in a relationship doesn't come from how often you talk, but from how deep you go when you do. Emotional intimacy is the difference between knowing what your partner had for lunch and knowing what they're truly afraid of. What keeps them awake at night, what memories shaped them, and what dreams they quietly hold close. It's the difference between coexisting and truly being known. So many couples function like roommates, sharing space, managing tasks, exchanging casual updates, but underneath it all, they've become strangers. The reason isn't always lack of love, it's the absence of emotional depth. Surface connection is easy. It's the highlight reel, the daily routine, the quick "how was your day?" without truly listening to the answer. It's safe, predictable, and over time it becomes a trap. Emotional intimacy, on the other hand, takes courage. It requires honesty without fear of judgment. It demands vulnerability. You have to open the parts of yourself that you usually protect, not just from the world, but even from the person you love. That's where true connection lives, in the raw, unfiltered conversations, in the moments where masks come off and you speak your truth, even if it's messy or uncomfortable. Too many people avoid these conversations because they fear they'll cause distance. Ironically, silence creates far more distance than speaking your truth ever could. When you withhold your feelings, your fears, your frustrations, your unmet needs, you start to drift. You stop expecting your partner to understand you, and you start learning to live without being fully seen. That's not growth, it's quiet detachment. Emotional intimacy closes that gap. It says, I'm here and I want to know all of you, not just the easy parts. To build emotional intimacy, you have to replace performance with presence. That means showing up authentically, not just acting how you think a partner should act. It means asking deeper questions like, what's something you haven't told me because you didn't know how I'd react? Or what part of your past still affects you today? It means creating space for difficult conversations without rushing to fix or control the outcome. Sometimes your partner just wants to be heard, not solved. Emotional intimacy is about making someone feel safe to be their full self with you. Not perfect, just real. It also requires consistency. One deep talk won't build emotional safety. It's built moment by moment over time when you choose to listen instead of interrupt, when you notice shifts in your partner's energy, when you're curious instead of critical. These small choices send a powerful message. Your inner world matters to me. And when someone feels emotionally safe, they begin to open in ways they never have before. You unlock levels of closeness that go far beyond physical attraction or shared interests. You become each other's home. Emotional intimacy also protects love from becoming mechanical. Every relationship hits seasons where routine kicks in, but routine doesn't have to mean disconnection. Couples who prioritize emotional check-ins, who keep learning each other, who continue to ask deep questions, those are the ones who keep their bond alive, even in the busiest, most stressful phases of life. They don't just grow old together, they grow deeper together. At its core, emotional intimacy is about giving and receiving truth. It's saying, I want to know the real you, even if it challenges me, and I want to be known by you in return. That's the type of connection that builds lasting love, not just a relationship that survives, but one that evolves, deepens, and stands strong, even when everything else changes. Would you like me to explain the third keynote next in the same powerful tone? A relationship is not meant to be a place where your individuality fades. It's meant to be the space where your growth is supported, seen, and celebrated. Too often, people get into relationships thinking they must shrink themselves to maintain peace, or that growing too much will make their partner insecure or distant. But true love doesn't fear change, it invites it. When you love someone deeply, you don't just fall for who they are today, you root for who they are becoming tomorrow. Every human being has an inner drive to evolve. Whether it's in career, health, self-awareness, spirituality, or emotional maturity, we're all wired to seek growth. When that desire is suppressed in a relationship, something breaks. People begin to feel caged, not loved, and even if they stay physically present, their spirit begins to pull away. A partner who resents your growth becomes an anchor, not a companion. On the other hand, a partner who celebrates your evolution becomes your greatest ally in life. Many relationships suffer because only one person is growing. Maybe one is reading, reflecting, trying new things, healing from old wounds, while the other stays stagnant, resisting change, fearing discomfort, or simply not aware of what's possible. Over time, the gap widens, conversations feel misaligned, energy feels mismatched. It's not because someone became too much or too different, it's because they weren't growing together or creating space for each other's development. To build a relationship where individual growth is celebrated, you must drop the ego. Your partner's success is not your competition. Their evolution is not a threat to your place in their life. When they shine, It doesn't dim your light. It adds to the glow of what you're building together. Insecure love says, if you outgrow me, you'll leave me. Mature love says, if you grow, we grow, and I'll keep growing too so we can meet each other in new heights. Support shows up in many forms. It's the cheer you give them when they take a risk. It's the patience you offer when they're working through something painful. It's the genuine pride you express when they achieve something meaningful, even when it has nothing to do with you. It's not always about being involved. It's about being invested. When someone knows their growth excites you, they feel safe to pursue it, and in return, they'll likely want to support your journey with the same energy and love. But don't forget your own path. You can't pour from an empty cup. Relationships where one person always sacrifices their dreams for the other don't end in love. They end in silent resentment. The healthiest love is when both people are thriving individually and pouring that energy into the relationship, not draining themselves for it. You should both feel empowered, not diminished, seen, not sidelined, inspired, not intimidated. Growth doesn't always happen at the same pace, and that's okay. What matters is that the energy stays alive, that there's mutual encouragement, that even in different seasons, when one is rebuilding and the other is rising, you stay committed to cheering each other on. A relationship that celebrates personal growth becomes a place of constant inspiration. You wake up next to someone who not only loves you, but also motivates you simply by being who they are becoming. And that's a rare kind of beauty. Not a love that just holds on, but one that lifts up. A love that doesn't just survive the years, but evolves with them. A love that makes both people feel more alive, more powerful, and more fully themselves. Love doesn't disappear in a single moment. It fades quietly when consistency is lost. The grand gestures we see in movies may ignite passion temporarily, but what truly sustains a deep and meaningful connection are the small, intentional moments repeated over time. It's not about how loud your love is in public, it's about how consistent it is in private. When two people stop investing in the little things that once brought them closer, the foundation begins to quietly crack, and eventually distance becomes the norm, not the exception. We often chase dramatic ways to show affection: anniversary trips, surprise gifts, romantic dinners. And while those things have their place, they can never replace the quiet power of everyday presence. A gentle good morning with real eye contact, a message in the middle of a stressful day that says, "I'm thinking of you," a hand reached out during a walk, a small compliment that reminds your partner they're seen, appreciated, and still desired. These moments don't take hours or effort, they take heart. And when offered consistently, they build a love that feels safe and enduring. People underestimate the power of these micro moments. They think it's too simple to matter, but connection isn't always built in conversation. It's built in energy. It's built when someone feels like a priority in your attention, not just a fixture in your routine. The truth is, most couples don't fall apart because of one massive mistake. They fall apart because one or both stop showing up in the little ways that matter. When you no longer ask how their day was and truly listen. When you stop saying, "I love you," because you assume they already know. When you stop reaching out for connection unless there's a problem to fix. Small acts are the daily deposits into your relationship's emotional bank. When you're consistently present, kind, curious, and loving in small doses, you build a buffer for the harder moments. You build trust. You create emotional wealth. That way, when challenges arise, and they will, you're not trying to fix everything from empty accounts. You already have a solid reserve of connection and care to draw from. Couples who stay connected emotionally tend to recover faster from disagreements and miscommunications because there's an underlying certainty. We are still choosing each other even now. This kind of consistency doesn't mean perfection. It doesn't mean you never miss a moment or forget to say something nice. It means that showing love and attention is part of your daily language, not just a reaction to guilt or fear of losing each other. When you build a rhythm of connection, you're saying, "I value you," not just in peak moments, but in the ordinary ones too. And that's where lasting love is born. Not in the highlight reels, but in the quiet rituals of closeness that no one else sees. What most people crave isn't perfection, it's presence. It's being remembered when no reminder was needed. It's having your feelings considered even when life is chaotic. It's the security of knowing your partner will continue to reach for you day after day, not because they have to, but because they want to. That kind of consistency builds emotional safety. It teaches your partner that love isn't conditional or seasonal. It's steady, it's alive, it shows up. If you want a relationship that lasts, fall in love with the daily choices, with the texts that say, just thinking about you, with the gentle touch as you pass by, with the thank yous and I miss yous, and how are you really feeling today? These are the threads that stitch hearts together over time. They may seem small, but in the end, they are everything. Would you like me to now continue with the fifth keynote in this same detailed tone? Every relationship, no matter how deep the love, will face conflict. Disagreements are not a sign of failure. They're a sign that two people are trying to build a shared life with different perspectives, emotions, and experiences. The true test of a relationship is not whether you fight, but how you fight. Do you attack each other, or do you tackle the issue together? Do you protect your ego, or do you protect the connection? The healthiest couples aren't those who never argue, but those who remember in the middle of conflict that they are not enemies, they are a team. Most people enter an argument wanting to be right, but when your goal is to win, someone always has to lose. And in love, if your partner loses, your relationship does too. Conflict isn't about proving your point harder, it's about understanding why something matters to the other person. It's about pausing long enough to hear what's underneath the anger, underneath the silence, underneath the frustration. The real win in a relationship is when both people feel heard, understood, and respected, even if they don't fully agree. The shift happens when you stop fighting from opposite corners and start sitting on the same side of the table, looking at the problem as a shared challenge. You start asking different questions. How did we get here? What does my partner need right now? What part of this am I not seeing? You stop trying to dominate the conversation and start listening with empathy. You take a breath instead of raising your voice. You choose clarity over blame. And you remember that the goal is not to hurt, but to heal. When couples handle conflict as opponents, they keep score, they dig up old wounds to win new fights, they punish each other with silence or sarcasm, they create emotional distance as a defense mechanism. This builds a cycle of resentment, fear, and emotional exhaustion. But when you act like teammates, you break that cycle. You create a safe space where both people can express their truth without fear of rejection or retaliation. That kind of emotional safety is rare, and it's the foundation of lasting love. Being a team also means knowing when to take a step back. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do during a heated moment is to pause, breathe, and return to the conversation when emotions have settled. It's not about avoiding the issue, it's about protecting the connection. Responding when you're triggered can lead to words you can't take back. Responding when you're calm leads to solutions, not scars. It's also about accountability. Teamwork means recognizing your own patterns and being willing to grow through them. Maybe you shut down when you're overwhelmed, or maybe you raise your voice to feel heard. Whatever it is, owning your role in the conflict is one of the most powerful steps you can take toward healing. It shows your partner that you care more about the relationship than your pride. And that kind of vulnerability invites deeper trust. Handling conflict as a team doesn't mean you'll always agree. It means you'll always care enough to try. You'll keep choosing curiosity over assumption, compassion over control, connection over competition. You'll stay on the same side even when you're seeing things differently, because you know that real love is not about avoiding storms, it's about learning to dance in the rain together. Conflict, when handled with maturity and love, can become a doorway to deeper understanding, stronger intimacy, and greater emotional connection. It can become the very thing that brings you closer instead of pushing you apart. Because when you stand together through the hard moments, you don't just solve problems, you build unshakable trust. Would you like me to now create a powerful conclusion for this entire speech with a thank you message for your audience? At the heart of every strong relationship is a decision a decision to keep showing up, to keep learning each other, to grow not just side by side, but soul to soul. It's not love that keeps people together. It's commitment, it's effort, it's the daily choice to prioritize connection over convenience, growth over comfort, and unity over ego. You don't grow apart in one day. And thankfully, you don't grow together in one day either. It happens through small, intentional steps, through the courage to speak truth, through the strength to support each other's journey, through the consistency of presence and the grace to choose love even in conflict. When you share a vision, open your heart with emotional honesty, celebrate each other's growth, stay consistent in the small moments, and face struggles as teammates, you don't just stay together, you evolve together. You build something rare, something unshakable, something worth every ounce of effort, because the real beauty of love isn't in finding the perfect person, it's in building the perfect partnership through imperfect seasons together. Thank you so much for listening and investing your time into something that truly matters, your relationships. If this message resonated with you, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe so we can keep growing and healing together. You're not alone on this journey. We're building something beautiful. One heart, one step, one truth at a time. Keep choosing love, keep choosing growth, keep choosing each other.